needs here. Lord, as we teach your children, young and adult, Lord God, help us to do our duties according to your will. Bless our webinar today and tomorrow, Lord, and be with our team on the field, those who are in the Philippines right now. Bless all the gadgets, internet connection, and even our discussion, Lord. Let it flow from your heart. Thank you, Lord God. And we also lift up to you our brothers and sisters who are experiencing hard times and crisis right now in Turkey and Syria, Lord. Have mercy on them, Lord. May they experience your supernatural provisions, supernatural protection, and your divine presence, Lord, right now, right at this moment. Thank you so much, God. And thank you also for touching the hearts of many to extend their support to the victims of this natural disaster. We may not know it, Lord, why, but we humbly submit everything to your name. We trust you, Jesus. We trust you, Father God. Amen. Maybe you're asking why there is power in this digital collaboration, or simply why digital collaboration, right? So, what is digital collaboration? But before that, allow me to introduce to you our project. So, we have a Happy Fish project. So, this is the drawing of my daughter. So, thank you, my daughter, for helping me with this logo. Okay, so what is this Happy Fish project? In our WhatsApp group, it's really interesting because it's nice to say a happy fish morning because the word happy is there and you see this cute fish in front of you. But to let you know why a happy fish, what's the story behind this a happy fish, right? So a fish out of water is actually an idiomatic expression. That means a person who feels awkward, uncomfortable, or unhappy when exposed to new people or new environment. So just like us, for example, if we are not used to using technology, it makes us feel uncomfortable. So what happened is you are like a fish out of water. Now, I don't want you to be a fish out of water when we talk about technology. We wanted our learners to thrive, no? Thrive, not just become successful, but really adapt well with their new learning environment. So, metaphorically, we wanted our learners to thrive confidently, regardless of their situation. And of course, this is going to be possible only with the help also of ProScola. So we have the two special founders of ProScola right now. That's Mr. Jason Thompson, and we have also, of course, Mr. Dieter Ritz from Switzerland. Now, allow me to introduce myself. But I'm just happy to share with you my journey as an educator. So I started also in international school in Cagayan de Oro City. That was my first school. Just to let you know, Augusta National High School has a special place in my heart because that's where I met my DepEd family. So I was once also a Department of Education public servant like you. Right now, I have two registered companies, the one here in Shanghai, which is JC Consulting, and the one in the Philippines, which is also the one that you see on the logo. I have been partners of different universities here and also in France. And I have a partner in my school in the US, the one in the UK for the ICQ Global. And currently, I'm a proud partner in education of ProScola. So let me introduce the two important person right now with me. We have Mr. Dieter Ritz. Hi, Didi.
Hi, Cecilia. Thank you very much. No, I think this is enough. You can see it on the screen, and we are so many people, so less time. So let's go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Didi. Didi is also a teacher and the person behind ProScola. And we have Mr. Jason Thompson. Hi, Jason.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Jason Thompson here. I partnered with Dieter Reitz early on as a teacher. I saw the amazing work he was doing in trying to get teachers to be able to teach. And this is one of our main missions. A lot of other systems give you a lot of administration and pieces in between that you have to go through to actually get your teaching done. And ProScola is designed by teachers and for teachers so that you can concentrate on the work that you do for the kids and teaching the children that are out there, rather than spending a lot of time within the administration side. And it also allows you to be able to consolidate and share lessons around. And that fits very well into the amazing work that Ma'am Cecilia has been doing and continues to do in her passion forward. So we're here. If there are any updates, changes, questions that are there, please keep them open and send them through to Ma'am Cecilia, send them through to us. The only way that we get better is by really listening carefully to the teachers out there. So thank you so much for joining here today, and I look forward to the presentation. Thanks, Ma'am Cecilia.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jason. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we have two scheduled webinars. One is for today and the other one is for tomorrow. So that is now, what is our purpose? Why we do what we do, especially this program that we are into right now. It is our aim, especially with ProScola, to really have this digital inclusion. What is the meaning of digital inclusion? In fact, even for the United Nations, this is one of their calls to different countries and individuals, stakeholders, and organizations regarding inclusivity. What is inclusivity meaning? Those who are hard to reach communities and areas, we wanted them to also experience technology, not only the ones in the city, but also the ones who are hard to reach, like in the islands of Dinagat, because we have already brought our project there. And you can see here the project that we have just, actually, Jason and I delivered this. It's a box, but we can learn more about that later on in our next webinar, okay, how to use that system. So digital inclusion is our call. It's one of our missions. Hard to reach areas like mountainside, right? Those who are studying, have schools in the mountains. Those in the last mile school. I think when I say last mile, everybody in DepEd knows that one. And then the next one, of course, we would like to, all of us as teachers, we would like everyone to be equipped as much as possible about using technology and make it technology enriched learning environment. So what is TELE? We will talk about that in a while. And for us, having some group in the WhatsApp already, it is our aim to build a sustainable teachers community for teachers by the teachers. So the one on the screen is Brian, presenting in the Hibusong Island of Dinagat. So thank you for the Ampayon Central Elementary School for taking the lead, especially in supporting other schools as well. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is our mission. And our WhatsApp community that we just created, it really aims to provide support not only for now, but most especially after today. It means to say sustainable. We would like to have a long-term support from me, from you, from everybody else who would like to contribute. This what makes us different from other professions. As teachers, duplicity, replication, this is how we expand. This is how we can see the change only if we duplicate ourselves. Unlike other business industries, they're keeping their secret. They have trade secret because that's the only way they could thrive. But for us teachers, how can we become successful? It is by helping one another. And then the real impact happens. So that is the reason why we created that WhatsApp group or that WhatsApp community. Now, our goal for this afternoon, we have three. So the first one is, it is my hope that at the end of today, we will be able to understand what is technology enriched learning environment. We also wanted everybody in this room to get empowered through digital collaboration. And finally, I would like to encourage you to be part of like-minded teachers in the digital community. And all of you have done that. I would say 90% of you have done that because you have successfully joined our WhatsApp community and you have signed up today by logging in. So thank you so much. Tap yourselves and say good job. Okay, you did a good job today. This is the first step. Now let's understand the what, the how, and the why. So this is our aim for today. What is TELE? How digital collaboration in PBL works, and why would I change? Now your task at the end of this day, hopefully you will be able, I'm not going to use the word you should, but I hope you would be able to design your own lessons with TELE, and that is the technology enriched learning environment. Or first step, make it easy. Join a pre-designed PBL, which I'm going to share with you later. Okay. Now, if we're going to look at the future jobs, I just use one, but there are many references on this one. But I would love to use the one presented during the World Economic Forum. They tried to project what are the possible jobs of the future from 2030 and beyond. And that's few years from now. It's already 2023. So if you're going to look at the top 10 list here, they're all connected to technology. Now, my question, my fellow educators, is it's not are we, I'm not going to talk about ourselves, but are our students future ready? The students that you have right now, are they ready? Maybe you say, well, it's not yet 2030, they have more time. That's right. So that's why today is the right time. And even for kindergarten, it's a long way to go, but this is already the path or the direction they're heading to. So this is the reality. Now, what is the meaning of being future ready? Let's talk about the future of education per se. Is it really still a future? Has it started already? Or it's not yet happening? So, what is the future of education and what is an SLE or smart learning environment? I know you're familiar with the word smartphone, right? Smartphone. So, when you say smartphone, how is it different from other phones, right? It means it has more features and it's also, of course, technically internet connected. So that's what makes it different, literally, for that smart learning environment. So it is connected with technology. We will define that. A smart learning environment means a smart classroom is a technology enhanced classroom that fosters opportunities for teaching and learning by integrating learning technology. But I would like to highlight this part. An SLE is actually defined by its ability to transform. So there is a movement from what we are used to something new, and that is by the integration of technology. So we talk about the way teachers provide personalized learning experiences. Let's talk about first what we have currently in the Philippines. So this is a survey back in 2019. So this is the summary, the Philippines ICT Household Survey. We have some figures. I'll let you read them. Still, the threshold for those who have access at home regarding technology is still low, but there is already a good change, not really dramatic increase. If we're going to look at the 2022 survey, but they don't have the summary yet. But because of the 2 years gap, is it 2 years already? 2021. Oh, it's already 3 years now since the pandemic started. It pushed a lot of organizations and institutions and even DepEd, right? The Department of Education and our government itself to shift really to technology. And we say it's really a bad news to experience the pandemic, but it is a good news regarding upgrading ourselves with the use of technology. So these figures have already changed. There's a slight increase on some areas, but there's a higher percentage in terms of access of every family, most especially in the urban areas with access to internet or even smartphones. So that's a huge change. Now, why am I presenting to you this percentage or this data? Because I just want us to be aware on what we already have. I'm not asking you to look for what is not available right now, but maybe we can work on what do we have right now. The fact that you're able to connect on this Zoom webinar, that means there is actually a chance to create a TELE in our own environment. Now, what makes the learning environment smart? So there are some criteria, and these are some of the common categories that I could present to you. First, it has to have an innovative capacity. Second, technology must be adaptive or flexible, okay, depending on the call of the situation. Strategic assessments. So this is where we design our assessments, performance and perception evaluation. And finally, real and virtual integration. Maybe they don't sound familiar to some of you here, but for those who have been practicing integration of technology, you would say, yes, we're doing that. Probably you already have the SLE. So the project base, it will be easy peasy for you in a while. Okay. So what makes it smart? So innovative capacity. We have this growing pedagogy and learning, and all teachers have experienced this in the past years. It is the online learning. Now, MOOC, or the massive open online courses, are or have been offered to many universities around the globe. And most probably, you have also done a certificate program under MOOC. So, MOOC, what is that? It is a massive open online course. Okay. And one of the most popular MOOC is Coursera. So this is an example of the pedagogy here. So there's really a dramatic increase, most especially during the onset of the pandemic in the world, right? So there's really a dramatic increase, 353% increase. So that was a huge, huge number. And that was only in the mid-March of 2020. So the question is, do you think this will disappear? I doubt. Okay. Instead, this will continue. And in fact, there are already some high school programs who are offering this type of pedagogy, not only for certification, not only for universities or higher education. And even for DepEd, I know you have resumed already on face to face, but once we are ready, we have this distance learning program as well, where this type of pedagogy could still be applied or still continuing. Now, when we talk about the innovative and adaptive capacity, the best example I can present to you is about ProScola. What is ProScola? It has a learning management system. It can be operated even in remote areas with intermittent internet connection or even without electricity because it is solar powered. It has its own built-in system. It can also have its own like an online library, okay, where students can research and get information even without going to Google. So, that's the capacity it can do and has more potentials. And the Dinagat Island in Hubusong, they have already received their smart box and of course with a running projector, as you can see from the screen here. So this was the first box that was delivered in the Philippines and the first in the world to experience the product of ProScola. So these are, if I'm not mistaken, they are grade 5 pupils in Liberty Elementary School. So we also have participants from the island school teachers here. Thank you for joining us today. So this is just an example about an SL smart learning environment that we could create. At least we're getting there, right? And then the third one, before I move on to the next, are some examples about adaptive technology. So how does it look like in the future? If we can afford it, we can have the smart campus. You see from the screen, this is actually a real test. China is one of the top players as well regarding artificial intelligence development. And they have produced a lot of products, and I have experienced some of them. So, like Smart Campus, they have a way to monitor the data of the students by face scanning. So as you can see from the screen, it's just a facial recognition. Data would actually show up. Okay? And then the way of life, it has changed. In the Philippines, it's hard to leave your house without money, literal money, your bills, coins, especially if you ride a tricycle or jeepney, you need it, right? So you need your wallet. Wallet is very important. Your purse is very important. But here in China, what you cannot live without when you leave your house is your smartphone, because almost everything here is digitally scanned. So actually, almost everywhere I've been here, it's digitally scanned. And in fact, there are some stores, the equivalents of sari-sari store, or the cart na bitaw, yung nagbebenta ng mga mais, sabaw ng buko, the people on cart, nagbebenta ng anything, peddlers, the public vendors. There are some of them who don't accept cash. You have to scan, just like the lady in the picture. She just scanned the QR code, and that's how she transferred her payment. Everything here is QR code operated. So this is an example. And then there's also a facial recognition to enter the school gate. So just like the person in the third upper right corner picture, facial recognition, no more printed ID. They don't need the printed one that you have to hang on your neck, but rather they just need you to show your face, and then the gate will open. That's how it operates in many universities as well. And translation app, and so on and so forth. So these are examples of adaptive technology. Now let's talk about the third one, right? The strategic assessments, performance, perception evaluation. How does technology play an important role here? How does it make it hyper personalized in learning? So let us define it. So hyper personalization, it actually taps human wants and needs. So it's more like personalized about the individuality of every person in your classroom, your students. But then how do we approach that? So there's a combination of AI, or the artificial intelligence, and so on, to do that. So let's have some details here that may be easier to understand. When do we say it's hyper personalized? Number one, it facilitates more personalized learning, meaning you can do a one on one, they can do a self study, they can access information easily, just like probably what you have done. Not most in DepEd, but some of you, especially for those who are in private schools, you have your personalized learning. I have participants here who are university students. They're actually going to be a teacher as well. And I'm happy to welcome them in this forum. And one of them is a homeschooler, right? China is here. So China is one of my examples who probably had experienced what is personalized learning, especially when she did her homeschooling. She had her own materials, and her own tutor. I don't know if she had a virtual AI tutor for that. It depends on how high is the technology that she enrolled in. And then what else makes it different from other form of assessment and in evaluation? It can also provide an outright feedback for students and educators. Again, easy access to information without waiting for the physical teacher to be around. Automative, so automatic basic activities, including grading, which I love in ProScola. So they're working on that area. When you enter, you don't need to get a calculator, like enter your grades, and then at least it could immediately convert, get the average mean. What is that mean for that mean percentile of that specific class group? So that makes it beautiful and easy for many of us who handle probably more than 200 students a day. So that is so much to handle, right? And in a week, how many class preparations? So if we have that kind of system and technology to help us make our lives easier, then we can focus more on designing lessons. We can focus more on enjoying our teaching experiences rather than get burdened on many admin work. So again, it's a work in progress. It's like a wish list, right? But at least what is the good news is, for most of us here who are from the Department of Education, we're getting there. It's not completely, we're not there yet. We're getting there. And now the readiness of teachers, this is very, very important. With all these changes going on, the, I would say, old school plus the new method, are we ready to embrace both? Because that transition, the transition period from old to new, that gives us a lot of headache. And that is why the webinar tomorrow will focus a lot on mindset. At least, it's not just on skills that we're going to prepare ourselves, prepare you, but I'm also hoping to help you get ready mentally. So tomorrow's webinar is really, really important, especially with all the changes that's going on in our education. Now, metaverse in education. What is metaverse? Well, Facebook has it. Okay, metaverse refers to the concept of a highly immersive virtual world where people gather to socialize, play, and work. Okay. Now, how does it look like? What does metaverse means? Literally, it means a virtual version of the real world. Virtual, when we use the word virtual, it's not like maybe the one in the group. You can physically contact each other. That's not virtual, that's a real one. Virtual is like us. We are virtually talking, virtually communicating. We are virtually connected right now. So, this is an example of a virtual version of the real world. We are in the real world, but we are virtually connected. So, that's the meaning of virtual. Now, virtual version of the real world, it means it lives in a network of interconnected computers that includes a range of free, accessible, and here we go, the most common one, the decentralized games, communities, and venues. Now, what is this metaverse? It is good and it is bad. It depends on which metaverse you're into, especially the students. I'm sure you're familiar with some of them. These are the pictures: Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox. For children and even high schoolers, or maybe some of you, you, you know what I'm talking about, right? Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox. Give you a thumbs up sign. Are they familiar to you? Have you seen kids or even your children paying, meaning it's a subscribed one with a payment, or playing the free one? Okay, I got a thumbs up from Michael here. Julia, Pat, I also see a thumbs up. So what's the point? Again, why am I showing you all of this? Because our children, our students are already immersed. Some of them are already immersed. And we may not be aware of that, but we have to. Even though we are not comfortable, we cannot do anything about it. This is where they're heading at. Even a 4-year-old, 3-year-old kid, there are Minecraft for kids, but there are many dangers. There are many dangers if they are not monitored, they're not supervised. Because again, they are in a virtual world of games, but they can be connected with real players around the world. And the cases exposed to, they're just vulnerable. There are many, I would say, pedophile out there. There are many who use foul language. So it's not bad if they're monitored and you know what they're doing. It's not bad if the content is really good in building their characters and skills, but be careful. Some are using these games for pornography. So this is just an awareness that I'd like us to be aware of as their teachers, okay, and even parents. Now here comes another one, a controversial one. Have you heard about the Chat GPT? Can you give me a thumbs up sign? When you see my head moving here, I'm looking at the other screen. Okay. So Chat GPT, Mampuspus. Yes. Only Mampuspus said yes, she heard it. Okay, I have China, Orlando, Toledo, yes, Sir Orlando. Who else? Okay, there are very few. And I have also Jason here. Okay, Chat GPT. What is a Chat GPT? It's good and it's bad. Again, everything has its two sides, just like a Chinese proverb here. Everything has its two sides, always good and the bad. So Chat GPT, it's a generative pre-trained transformer. It's a chatbot launched by OpenAI in November 2022 in the USA. And what does it do? ChatGPT is what? It is an AI bot that can answer questions. And here we go, teachers, write essays. And they can even program computers. Now you can pay to use it. That's the word. If you pay the paid version, of course, you get more access. It's really interesting how my friend from Singapore and I tried to play it on it. She just typed one topic, just like a common friend topic. And then it's really mind blowing to say, wow, you have a full essay with just one statement. You got a full essay. And then it is not even plagiarism. There's no way to detect it. So be careful, high school teachers here, and maybe who knows, in the primary school, there's already an AI chatbot, even for a paragraph version, type one topic, and then it's done. Okay. So again, it has a good side and bad side. It depends on how well aware are we and how we work it out. But I hope they will not use this for cheating. In the UK, I've read the one on the screenshot. In the UK, they've started discussing it with some universities there. They started discussing it with their administrators, creating an awareness about ChatGPT. It's like in the university where I'm teaching. So how do I know if this is the work of my student, right? It is an academic paper, but ChatGPT can do that. They can actually write a full essay for you or even a dissertation, who knows. But of course, there will be a difference, the technicalities as a teacher that we have to upgrade ourselves. How do we actually detect? How do we actually outsmart? And the best part is, how do we work well with this technology? You cannot go against the technology, but you can make technology as your partner in learning, your partner in teaching. But it becomes your enemy if you don't understand how they operate. So that is why awareness, and upgrading our skills, these are the basic steps so that we can maximize all the technologies that surround ourselves right now. Otherwise, you know the consequences. It will be a disaster, really. And then, of course, considering the 2030 jobs presented to you a while ago, it's an accountability for us teachers, right? To prepare our students for their future selves. And we have a huge accountability for that if we will stick to what we know now, what we do now, because it is uncomfortable to shift to what is really happening in the real world. Now, that is a smart learning environment. It has become, meaning it already started. It already has an effect. I know we have language teachers here, present perfect tense. So it has become our education's new phase and future. So this is the reality. So how do we actually become part of this? How do we prepare ourselves, or how can we make ourselves better for those who have already upgraded themselves? Okay. So what is technology enriched learning environment? Let's simplify it. Okay. Just two key points. What is technology enriched learning environment? It is supported by technology. What technology are we talking about? Laptops, desktops, tablets. Of course, internet plays a huge role here. Printers, scanners, smartphones, AI if you have, LMS, the learning management systems, and all the things that you can think of related to technology. TV, radio, these are technology as well. How do we maximize them? So, a technology enriched learning environment is driven by teachers' innovation like you. If we want to help to prepare, and UNESCO wishes the word future ready, right, for students, we have to embrace this change. So TELE is driven by us. Now, I know it's Valentine's month, right? Facebook says it. A lot of Filipinos love Facebook. And it's all about love in the month of February. Age doesn't matter in love. But I would also say age doesn't matter in technology. I'm going to ask you now to do something for me. Okay. Let's have a quick poll, shall we? How did you enter the WhatsApp community group? Just one choice. A, or the first one, I scanned the QR code, easy peasy. Two, help, I need somebody. I did not. Please see on your screen, do not type on the chat box, not on the chat box. You should be able to see the survey, okay? Just click on the survey. So again, this is just an experience. So for those who are able to make it on the WhatsApp group, good job. Come on, a clap of hands for you guys. Now, I want us to go to Mentimeter that right now. And of course, this is also an activity that you could play. There are so many games that you could work on with your students in the classroom. If you want a quick survey or a poll question or a simple question like that, and you wanted to do it in a cloud form later, you will see how it works. You can also do this in your class. Okay. Keep them coming. It's nice to see your answers on the screen. Back to this later. All right. Now let's rate according to how often do you access the following? And we have already some answers ready. Google, top one. All right, so this is the result in 5, 4. Wow, they're so quick. Wow, I can see the numbers of those clicks there. 2, 1. All right. So Google, Facebook are almost on the same place. So technology is not really new to us here. And again, how do we actually maximize that? Good job. Congratulations. So if we go back on the previous results, it's a big yes. So again, another round of applause. Good job. You see a virtual clap there if you want, or you can just tap each other's shoulder. You tell your sitmate, good job. You're on the right track. Okay. Nobody's left behind, right? Nobody's left behind, even among our teachers. We always say nobody should be left behind among our students. So the same with us teachers, nobody should be left behind. These are like some little tricks that we can do, and I'm sure some of you can do it even better than I am. Okay, so technology enriched environment. Before we move to the second half of our session, I'd like to invite some volunteers here to briefly describe, again, this is teacher empowerment, a teacher for the teacher by the teacher. So how do you use technology in your classes? I would like to encourage, maybe raise your hand if you would like to share briefly your best practices. Do we have some volunteers? Okay, I have a hand from Ma'am Lilibeth. Lilibeth, would you like to share your experience with us? Go on, unmute your microphone, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Lilibeth. Ma'am Lilibeth Virtudazo, she's a teacher in Shanghai City. Thank you for joining us, ma'am. Go ahead, Ma'am Lily.
Yes, indeed, technology is a big part when it comes to having class each day. And since I'm teaching preschool, so normally I use technology during my center time class, that is the first hour. It's because it really ignites the students and it motivates them, especially like they're 2.6 years old to 3 years old. So also like after their nap time, that's also that I could play some phonics and nursery rhyme songs, and also like the simple reading exercise in rest kids. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Lily, for sharing your experience. So again, technology is not only for older kids, even for little kids as young as 2.5 years old. Imagine that. So that's how we maximize it. Anybody else who would like to share something here? Can we give a heart? A heart to Mom Lily? You can go to your reactions and just click heart. Okay, we have Amelito. Amelito Makasoko. Go ahead, please. If you are
Hi,
comfortable to turn on your video.
yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Hi, sir.
Uh,
Thank you.
we are starting using multimedia in our assessment using the microscope form or the Google form as our maybe motivations of our students and I think simplifications also of our assessment data. Yun lang po, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, sir. That's really helpful, isn't it? Did it make your life easier? Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Hello, Ma'am Cecil. I'm sorry I was not able to rename my name and Zoom, but I am Mrs. Mary Grace Monton, about 1 Central.
Okay. Hi, ma'am. You are in a big group
Good to
right
see you
now.
again.
Yes, I'm sure you are in a big group right now. I wish I can see you if the internet is fast. But go ahead and share your experience with us, ma'am.
I was handling online during the pandemic, and it was really a very remarkable experience. I was able to use the Zoom. We were able to have the Google Classroom. The pupils enjoyed having the Jamboard for their activities. It was really a big help. We were able to make education continuous for them even during the pandemic. And now that we are on the face-to-face classes, I use technology in making my PowerPoint presentations, the messenger for our assignments also, wherein the pupils can post their outputs for easy tracking of their work. Those are just some of the ways wherein I incorporated technology in my class, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much for for sharing with us that you're already into it, right? Thank you so much, ma'am. We have also some posts on the chat box. Of course, TV are big help, right? And again, PowerPoint presentation. These are the basic that we can learn, especially if you have not learned yet how to use a PowerPoint. Television and discussion of lessons. Radio, these were like maximized fully, especially during the lockdown period in the Philippines. Okay, do I see any other hand here? Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Dan, for your share. Can we give them a heart, everybody? Let's put a heart. Thank you, fellow teachers. In three. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's post our hearts for our teachers. Yes. All right. So what we have here, these are our goal, of course. We, at least by now, I'm happy to know that we understand what is really technology, how to use it, and from the sharing of others here, they have already started with this technology enriched learning environment. Now let's go to the main part, or we call this the gist, okay? Get empowered through digital collaboration. All right, just to make sure you're with me, give me a heart, please. Give me a heart. I'll give you my heart. It's here. Thank you so much. All right. So what you see on the screen are screenshots of my previous activities about learning beyond borders projects that I have started here in Shanghai, collaborated with my school, and of course the Learning Beyond Academy in Shanghai City. So we have here some screenshots of the children. Let me tell you the details in a while, okay? But this is a project-based learning through digital collaboration. So you have students from different places, parts of the world, who are able to exchange their works online. Now, as teachers, we will not graduate and finish our degree in the Philippines without getting to know Bloom. So it's Bloom's taxonomy. So from the screen, you can see here, oftentimes we have this kind of mindset. This is the blueprint, okay? When I say blueprint, this is how we were trained and this is how we operate in our work because it's already imprinted with our mindset. Bloom's taxonomy, or it starts with the basic at the bottom. Our approach in teaching, we wanted our students to remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and then create. So what does it mean? Okay. So we often go from the bottom to the top. So the creation happens at the end when we expect them to produce new or original work. Okay. Now, a quick survey from all of you. Are you following this diligently? Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. Can you just give me a thumbs up probably if you're following this approach? Yes. From that group of Mom Joy, Pelimer. All right. The others? Any other approach? Yes, I see some thumbs up here. Let's just practice clicking the reaction box. Okay. So this is the common approach, right? It's there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually helpful a lot in many ways. Now what I'm going to share with you is the other one. Let's try to invert it, okay? The other way around. So the way we will view, again, it has something to do with how we see it, how we view our approach, our lessons in class. It's the inverted version. We call this the PBL framework. So, gibali lang siya, no? So, what happens here? Binaligtad lang siya. What happens here is instead of going from the bottom, we start at the end. So, what is the common statement? I always say this. When you designed your project based, you begin with the end in mind. So that's how we operate. There's already a vision coming in from you as their teacher. Begin with the end in mind. So that is creating. So how does it work? When you have these thoughts already, you have the idea. Why? Why this creation identifies the possible solution to the problem, right? Oftentimes we engage our students with some problems and then we wanted them to figure it out. So by doing the remembering, understanding, and so forth, and then creation later on. But this one, it's reverse. As a designer, we are the designers of our lessons. We already have this creation. We don't fix it, but it's an open opportunity, but we know they're getting into that vision that we have set for them. And then second, what? What are the steps and resources needed? So instead of starting with what you don't have, co-host, kindly mute the microphones of our other participants. Kindly help me. Thank you. What are the steps and resources needed? So I'm going to say it again. When we talk about resources, we have this kind of, it's our tendency. I think it's human nature. When we want to create something big or something good or something beautiful or something new, our tendency is, wala ako niyan. Wala kami niyan. Oh, we don't have this. We don't have that. So instead of starting with that, you start with what do you have? How do we maximize what we already have? And then extend. How do we reach out to others so we can improve what we already have? So that kind of mindset, these are very important for us as educators. Then the third one, how will it be accomplished? So the steps, the procedures. So everything is already laid out. Now, just to tell you, probably designing a project-based learning, it may take a while, but it's worth it. At the end of it, you will benefit from it. You can recycle it. And part of that preparation, of course, apart from knowing your goals for this project, so how do we actually design our rubrics? How do we actually assess them? Okay, that's very, very important again. And you can see the picture at the bottom. Those are like, let's say, your students. This assessment, this marking criteria, the point system, how they earn points, it should not be a secret. It should be known to your students. In that way, they become more accountable in working on your project. Okay? It's not a surprise. It must be something that they know and they understand. So maybe the language that you're going to use, especially if you give them a copy, upload it on the website, or maybe give them a soft copy, or maybe print it. Okay, I don't know what you have. Whenever they read that paper, the choice of words that you're going to use must be understood by the reader. So, an instruction given to a grade 3 pupil is different when you give it to a grade 6 pupil or high school student. So, again, we have to be mindful of that. Now, let me give you a case model number 1. What is the problem? Okay, let me share with you. This is a current news. Oh, not really current. It's already old, right? January 28th. But it's a this year's news that I have read from this place. It's about racial discrimination. This is something common, right? So for us teachers, just like in the school, we have cyberbullying online. We have bullies in school. And whether we accept the truth or not, there's a discrimination going on regardless of where we are at. Okay? Now, that is a real problem because it affects the values of every human person, okay? Humanities. So, this is a screenshot from one of the news I've read, which really broke my heart. And actually, it was one of the reasons years back before during the pandemic, the first year of pandemic in 2020. This is a common, I would say, one of the common sad news that we can read online. It is a Chinese boy, for example, this example now that I'm showing you. It's actually about a Chinese boy uses an international chat, because there are a lot of available, as I have said, it's now open, right, for internet. If we are not monitoring kids, the way they learn, who they learned with, they are subject for possible bullying, just like in the picture. So this was like a screenshot, probably taken by the mom. So a Chinese boy uses an international chat software to practice his spoken English, which is very common in China. But this time it's not quite the same as written by the author there. Two kids made discriminatory slant eye, ching chong, and all the remarks that are really degrading. I have seen a short clip of that video. Probably the mom reported this, and it's really heartbreaking if you heard what they said against the Chinese boy. And this is not right for all of us as teachers. Somehow we are accountable in this. How do we actually help our kids understand other people's culture? So that's the thought. So when I designed the project that I mentioned to you with the pictures of the 4 kids, that was one of the goals. How do we actually create a better understanding, foster understanding among different cultures, even at a younger age? How do we develop cultural intelligence at a very young age? So from this project in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, 2020, May 2020, I collaborated with Learning Beyond Academy, my school, and Joshua Consulting Company. I designed a 5-week project-based learning. So I have had participants from homeschoolers in the US and also in Romania. And we have after-school kids from China and also the Philippines. So this is our group. We did this with the aim to solve the problem about, misunderstanding, bridging the gap. So the way to bridge it is to educate children as young as they are. So there was like collaboration, sharing of works in between. And the final output was this. Each of them was able to talk about different holidays in their own countries. And they did a virtual presentation. So what are the skills that they were able to do here? For those non-speakers of English, of course, that's a great experience, because that's why I said, because I've been handling the after-school program here. One of my work, I was a director of an English program, and I have kids. I designed curriculum from 3 years old up to 16 years old for that specific program. So they were able to practice their English in a safe environment. So that's what I created for them. And I invited other participants from the US and from Europe, and we're able to do this. That's the benefit for those who are in the after school program. Now, what about for other kids who are speakers of English already? Of course, it's about understanding, being mindful, cooperation, being accountable, and then just to enjoy and have fun and get to know children from other parts of the world. So again, this was participated by kids, this specific PBL I grouped them. We have the youngest group from 5 years old to 8 years old. Oh no, 9 years old. And then we group another 10 years old to 13 years old. This was an open invitation, and it was an overwhelming experience because I did not expect to have a child as young as 5 years old to be so active. She's working on her confidence at the beginning, but in the end, she's able to present, of course, with the presence of her parents. So that is really good, especially teachers and parents work together on this. So this is an example. I had a vision. What was the problem that I was trying to solve? And how did I view the end result? So begin with the end in mind. And the way you see it right now, this was the picture in my head. Now I went back to the steps. Now that I know what I want, so what are the steps? What are the resources needed? So in those 5 weeks period, there's what I call the call for collaboration. I took time to coordinate and look for some possible partners. And how will it be accomplished? So there were some trainings in between for those, for homeschoolers, training for parents, for the lead facilitator teachers, training for teachers, and for the tech support. Well, we have the expert groups for that. And we were able to make a 5-week project to avoid this kind of problem. So this is one simple project that we can work on, but it can tie up a lot of skills. And of course, the goal of fostering understanding among cultures was achieved. So that was my uh, recent experience with this. Now, let me show you another example. Case number 2, how do we work on PBL? Problem, right? Combat climate change. Is this possible? Is it happening in your place? How does it work? So the 3 C's, CCC, combat climate change. So how do we design a lesson? This is my end goal. We need to combat it because that's a climate, we are experiencing some environmental problems nowadays. So I bring in my students to participate on this work, on this project. So as a designer, you are the designer, right? You are the teachers. Your goal, combat, means you have to fight it. If not eradicate, at least minimize it. What can we do? Now you have already the idea. Now create, critically examine information, make judgments. These are like the basic steps. I just broken them into pieces, right? The paradigm that you can see on the left or right corner of your screen. Take information apart, explore possible relationships of the issues around you. Again, inputs, science lessons, what else? Mathematics, history classes, even English classes can work it out. What lessons can you connect and make sense out of it? So record and publish. So once it's clear to you what are the steps to do, you have your designs, then learning becomes more intentional and insightful. It's not just like you're hitting with no direction. Every step is not wasted in the project-based learning because it is pre-thought, preconceived, okay? And you know that every little step that they do will add value. Now, as a teacher, I'm sure you're also familiar with the word instructional scaffolding. Now, what is the good thing with PBL? We act not just as the source of knowledge, which is very, very common to our schools, not only in the Philippines, but even in the different parts of the world. It's like the students become so reliant of their teachers that they fail to think on their own. But what we are teaching them is we teach them to think, and we help that by facilitating. So your role now as a teacher, you become the facilitator for deep learning. So what is an instructional scaffolding? It is a process where you as a teacher provide systematic, step by step. That's why it has to be thorough. You have to think about it. Systematic support for who? For your students. So they can further develop or enhance their learning until they achieve their mastery level. As a teacher in the public school, I know how important it is. We have supervisors here. How important it is to record the list learned competencies to get the percentile rank after the quarterly exams, right? So once you have identified, why do we have to do that? Because we wanted them to master as much as possible. Nearing mastery, master, but we don't want them to be below, right? So how do we approach that? So again, facilitation. Now, scaffolding could mean breaking learning into manageable chunks, right? Like mini lessons here, using visual aids, front loading specific vocabulary. Again, I'm using the word front loading specific vocabulary because there are many lessons, especially in science, for example, there are many abstract concept, right? How do we make it more understandable by our students? So tapping their prior knowledge experiences, practicing modeling. So scaffolding helps us to manage a whole knowledge into a manageable chunks of lessons. That's why maybe this project based, you want to design it for maybe a 10 weeks, right? 10 weeks, or maybe 1 quarter, or maybe 5 weeks. So how am I going to go through this process? How many lessons should I write? Or maybe one lesson plan with subunits? How will I deliver that? So again, make them into manageable chunks. Now we have a framework on PBL. There are 7 essentials that I'd like to share with you. Um, they're the basic design elements. You start with a question, just like the model case studies I've shared with you. Challenging problem or question that you want it to be solved based on your real situation right now in your classes, depending on what subject, what grade level, or even just the current situation in the environment, probably, or anything that you notice really, really important to address with that you would like to integrate in your curriculum. Or from the curriculum, of course, as the foundation, how can you enhance it? Or just simply focus on the curriculum. What are the identified skills here and what are the problems they could possibly solve? And then apply sustained inquiry. That's where research skills comes here, authenticity, allowing students to the freedom to express their own ideas, to explore possibilities with you. That's why you are the facilitator. But I'd like to highlight the 5th one, which is reflection. One significant step that we could train our students is really taking a while to pause. And we also need it ourselves. We cannot just simply work, put it all together, but they don't make sense to you, or they don't make sense to them. They don't make sense to me because we do not pause. There should always be this reflection. Let's take a moment. Let's reflect. I love integrating because I'm also a cultural professor here in Shanghai. There's always the requirement there to pause. After a few days, I need you to write something about it. Give it a thought, but I'll give you time to reflect. And then there's this critiquing, make it better, revision, marking. Once it's ready, go ahead and share it, publish it. And this is the direction that we are working on, which I'm going to invite you later on. Now, let's go back to that combat climate change. Question: can we combat climate change? Now, apart from the curriculum that you already have, we can also connect it with the United Nations SDG, right? We have this SDG, let's say 13, 14, 15, which you could connect to climate change. Question: please type on the chat box your answers, okay? I need you to type it. Are the topics above included in your curriculum? Yes, no, I don't know. If you are not sure, you can say not sure. Can you please type very quickly for me? Or a thumbs up sign, thank you. That's the quickest. Keep them coming. Number 13 is included. Yes. All right. Thumbs up sign, yes, no, not sure, maybe, go ahead. Keep them coming, please. Are the topics above the question? All right. It depends on your location right now, okay? Or the topics in front of you included in your curriculum. Okay. Okay. So indeed, right? They're integrated. Now the next question, if you're going to discuss these topics and work it out, what possible subjects can you integrate? Let's say one of you said 13 only, the climate action. Can you think of the subjects that you could connect with the climate action or the life below water or life on land? Okay, thank you, Denise Layson. Yes, 13 to 15 are not explicitly included, but you could highlight and emphasize them, right? So students will know that, oh, there is such thing as a global concern in SDG. Thank you, Denise Layson, for posting that. Okay, so what subjects now? Let me go back to the next question. Can you type how many subjects can you put together with these topics? Basically, we will say science, right? So apart from science, is there any other class or subject that we could work it out? Only science? Science. Politics? Is there a politics class in high school now? Is it now offered? Okay. Politics and science in senior high schools in STEM. Okay. English, arts, Filipino. Good. I see some creative thoughts from Ma'am Junali here. She can see English class or English subject, arts, and also Filipino subject. Araling Panlipunan. Yes, there's a word. And ESP. Can you tell us ESP, is it the values education? ESP is values education? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Social studies. You see, so it's not just science, right? It's not just one subject where you could integrate this. Can you imagine working on one project for your class, but it covers several subjects? Let's say I have seen here, even for arts, right? Science, arts, Filipino, English, social studies. Can you imagine all of these subjects will be focusing only on one? Will it not be very comprehensive? And the value it gives, it will make your, I'm not going to use the word life easier for teachers, but it will make learning more intentional for your students. And later on, when you master your own project, you keep on revising it, then I would say then it will make your life easier because you know the flow, right? The flow of your project itself. Yes, that's the advantage of PBL. Now, let me show you a real example. I've been working with the University of Tainan in Taiwan for many years since I was in DepEd, since I was in the Agusan National High School. I love volunteering. Like, I just love reaching out. Um, I've been volunteering online as a facilitator for project based. And then the one in the UN, in the University of Tainan, they developed a specific website just for PBL. It was actually a competition that they did to encourage participants from across the world. And I'm taking a screenshot, borrowing them, just to share it with you. The author of this is a very good friend of mine, Dr. Chi Xian Lin, and he already passed away last year. So I think that would be my last volunteer because my point of contact is already not with us in this planet Earth. So he's already in the spiritual realm. Okay. But his legacy for education, global education, because we have the same ideas. We met in one of the conferences in Korea. He saw my project. He's more into technology. So it's like it's just unexplainable, but we just met there. We're in sync. And then he really developed this. It was well funded. Designed with all those 13, 14, 15 from the SDG. He designed PBL, project-based learning, that involved K to 12 at the beginning, but for this specific topic, because it's more related into a higher level, he focused on grade 5 to grade 12. And this was 2 or 3 years ago. If I cannot, 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I think that was during the onset of the pandemic. Um, that was his last legacy in the global education. So if you can see from the screen, these are different topics by themes. It's a thematic approach. Fight for Better Earth, Insect Project, Fostering Environmental Sustainability, Cheer Them On, using STEAM to address gender equality. So there are different teams for 4 PBL with 5 or more members. That was the requirement to choose from the 4 themes that you see on the screen. And they also have this separate entry for international journalists. So the reason I'm sharing this with you, we started only with the 3 SDG, but you could explore more. So how does it look like? Okay, I just want to add this as well. Positive reinforcement works well. There were awards. Okay, there were awards given as well for the participants. Oh, that was in 2021. Okay, now I remember. Okay, so just to give you a breakdown, it was also a 10-week project and divided into weekly tasks. And there are different portals where they were able, they means the participants, teachers, and students, where they can post anything related according to the picture that you see, a reception, if they have questions, getting to know each other, their learning tasks, how do they showcase. There's also scheduled video conferences and other Q&A as a support. Now, it was divided into 10 weeks. So each week, the team who participates or who participated for the specific project, they have specific assignment to submit. So again, the same thing with your students. If you are participating on a PBL with digital collaboration, expect some outputs. Again, it depends, right, on what design you're making or you're participating in. There are specific tasks that they need to accomplish. So just giving you some screenshots here, 4, 5, 6, right? So designing, collecting materials, the prototype, and then the publishing is there, the recording is there, and then the awarding. Okay, so these are just examples. The one that I did, the very simple one for little kids up to 13 years old, and then this APEC Cyber Academy. So again, it is all related to the principal elements, as you can see on the screen. What's the problem? And then how did you go through the process? The why they have to do this, the what, right? And also the how. Now, for us teachers, there are also some steps in our teaching practices for this PBL, right? So we have what you call first the designing and planning. What are we going to design for the project? That's the first step, right? And then how do we align them to our standards? So we call this our curriculum. What other skills can we add into this specific learning task? And then build a culture means when you start working with other teachers, when you start involving your students with a project, what kind of culture are you bringing in? And then managing activities, scaffolding, assessment. Do not forget that. That's very, very important for teachers. And then what kind of support are you providing? Engage and coach. So do they only ask you when they see you physically, or do you allow yourself to be accessible to them even after your classroom lecture with them? So these are to be integrated. So this can be a good framework when you design your own project base. And of course, as you can see at the bottom of your screen on the left, I highlighted the call for collaboration. So when you design your plan, do not forget to include the time that you need to invite other teachers to work and participate with your students. So this is where the call for collaboration comes in. Allow that as part of your time, okay, in planning. Now, why we have to do this PBL? Why study? Why work on project base? So just to cite some Study confirms project-based learning has a positive impact on how students learn science and math. Okay, this is just based on one study, but in my study way back years ago, it's really helpful as well for improvement because I was teaching English back then in Agusan National High School from second year and then also fourth year high school. That was like when there was no K-12 yet, right? So it enhanced, right, the student performance based on the report. It increased student motivation and engagement. It improved teacher student interaction. It's really active, right? And then it increased again the 4 C's from the 21st century learning, which you can add more, you know. Nowadays, not just 4 C's. As technology develops, as the generation evolves, we identify, you know, getting more highlights on the significant skills that our students must learn. So again, the word future ready will be applied. Creativity, some of them, okay, the top four: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communication. And then this research examined 3,000 middle school students and 100 teachers in a large and diverse urban school settings. So from this report, it really proves how this project-based learning increased the performance of the students and really help the teacher, help them achieve the mastery level. But the question is this: if the research really shows that it's really working well, I just want to quote, okay, what the author said. If the results are so consistently good, why aren't more schools and teachers employing this teaching strategy? What could be the answer there? Anybody who would like to share with us? I would say the shift from what we are used to something new, it's not an easy job. Okay? We become more complacent. And staying within our comfort zone is, of course, preferable. So when you join and shift and develop this kind of strategy in your teaching, you will go through some process where there will be ups and downs. And we have our ProScola teachers online as well right now. Hopefully, they could share with us their experiences before. It's like it's a love or hate for some. Should I continue doing this or not? Especially the transitioning from non-digital to digital. And what more when we talk about project-based learning with digital collaboration? Question: how willing are you to inconvenience yourself? Facts were given, you know the reality, but the next step is up to you. It's your call. How willing are you to inconvenience yourself? That's the first challenge that you will encounter, especially if you haven't done this. The second challenge is this: for those who are not going to design, right? They're first timers. So they will join the pre-designed one. So it's going to take a lot of works probably if the skill is low. But as I have said, we are your partners. We are allies here. And you have already a direct contact with me, right? And you have also a lot of great resources available and experts in your own team in the field right now. All you need to do probably is ask, because again, it will require skills and willingness to learn. And the third challenge is maybe, yes, I'm joining, but the real commitment would be a problem. It will go back to our habit. How committed are we in completing the task? Once you signed up, remember, once you signed up in a project base, there is or there are other partners, partner school, partner teacher, right? They are expecting your own contribution to make the project work. So imagine it, you signed up now after 5 sessions or 5 weeks for a 10-week project. You change your mind and say, nah, I'm not going to do it. It's so troublesome. Kapoy kaayo, nakakapagod. So what will happen? You will contribute to the failure of the entirety of the project. Okay? So that's another challenge. It requires real commitment. And then maybe what would stop us is this. You will say, that's why you're not committing because you have limited resources. Now, let me present to you my case model number 3. It is actually my first PBL experience before the pandemic. So, what is this first PBL experience? It's a story that was more than how many years ago? I would say let's start with 2005. While I was teaching in Agusan National High School, and way back then, I remember the painting on the roof of every public school when they advocate quality education, it's painted on the roof. But for me, as a classroom teacher back then, what is the real meaning of quality education? So I had a vision for my second year students, equivalent to 8th grade students at present. I wanted them to be part of global learning because it ends up like I'm the only source, right? Because we don't have other dictionary, we don't have other internet. What can we do? Internet was very new then. So they inspired me to design a project based, despite of all the lack of resources. So in my class, I use another book. It's The Little Prince, and I asked them to write creative writing, to write their own chapter of The Little Prince by sharing what was their encounter. So it involves writing, it involves drawing as well, and uploading. So I had the help from other teachers because then, just to tell you, for those who are new to technology, when I started joining or designing this digital collaboration, my my ability in the internet was not there yet, meaning it was my first time to hear the word internet. I only knew Word and just a little bit of spreadsheet. Very, very minimal I know about internet. But once I understood what can internet do to my students, I just started dreaming for them. I started dreaming big for them. So I started connecting core competencies. I set their mindsets on what we should be doing. I coordinated with parents, with administrators, and for the computer, I used the internet cafe because again, before, I'm not sure how far is the development now in my beloved school in Agusan High. But back then, there were only 16 computers with a ratio of around average 9,000 students. So I taught the different internet cafe and made use of them as my classroom, extended classroom. But again, it entailed to preparation and inconveniencing. So if you're going to look at the time when I joined this digital collaboration, integration of technology, that was long, long time ago. That was in 2006. And what year is it now? And everybody here, we have Zoom, we have smartphones, we have laptop. I'm just showing this, to highlight the year 2006, 2009. And what is it now? 2023. So when you say we lack resources, we don't have tablets, we don't have gadgets, my dear fellow teachers, you can do more than what I did many years ago. I trust that you can do more. But again, we have to overcome all those challenges. We have to get involved. We have to integrate some leadership there, being a team player. We have to add empathy and respect for culture during collaborations. We have to be more active, looking for partner schools locally, internationally. And of course, what would contribute to your career is also publishing a research paper, which is also the direction of DepEd. I know you're doing a lot of case studies. So once you're able to participate in our project base, which I'm going to share with you, or design your own, make it as a focus of your research. And let us know how we can help you on that. Okay. So just to sum it up, what is PBL? I'm just showing you lay the groundwork in advance. Collaboration, communication are important keys for the success of your project-based learning. Now, PBL with digital collaboration, it's a great instructional methodology. Why? Because it allows students to learn by applying knowledge and skills through a real life engaging experience. It is also integrative in approach, right? You can, as what you have said on the chat box, you can also do it well with other subjects, not just in science, oftentimes, because I know you have your exhibits for science projects. but you can integrate a lot more, even ESP, the values class. Okay, yes, that's right. Dennis Layson, if you can see what he has written here, thank you for sharing your experience. Agree with that. And hopefully this year, with all the supports and the advancement of the tools and the optimistic support coming in from your administrators, you'll be able to overcome this problem. So, Mr. Dennis Layson, let me know how I can help in the future, okay? Thank you for sharing that with us on the chat box. Now, another advantage of PBL with digital collaboration, digital because I'm emphasizing collaboration not only within your class, maybe with other classes in your school, inter-school, with other schools, all right? It can also be done, or even locally and internationally. And we have here Mr. Didi, he's also a teacher, and we're looking forward to have his students in this project. So it provides an opportunity for deeper learning, that's for sure. Just to make it clear, okay? Project-based learning is not the typical homework. It's not the typical quiz, exam, case study, or PowerPoint. No, they're not. Rather, all right, the task that you will ask them must be comprehensively smart. And we know this, right? As teachers, smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bounded. Those are very, very important. And portfolio is an example of authentic assessment, a great authentic assessment. Rather, make your assessments more, I'm going to repeat, make your assessments, including your tasks, more intentional. And be sure when you give one assessment to the next, they are adding value based on the progression and, of course, level of difficulty of their work. So it's more comprehensive. It's not like a one-off that can be finished in one night. No. When they can finish it in one night, that is just an assignment. Okay? It's not a PBL. It's not a project based because project based takes time. And again, processing is the most important core, not just the output. Output is the reward, but the process in between to complete that output, that's the highlight. It's really student centered. That's the beauty of PBL. Question you might have: power in PBL with digital collaboration. Can I do it? Yes, you can, despite of many challenges. Intentional means it's not something random. It's not just something out of your head. It means, I'm just answering one of the question here. You might be wondering, what am I talking about? I just read a question. What is intentional? Intentional means something that is preconceived, pre-planned, and every step you make, it's valuable. In our Cebuano language, walay usik. Walay usik sa mga trabahoon sa mga bata. Walay usik sa mga oras na inyong spend together. Because it really leads them, no? Walang sayang. That's the meaning of walang usik. Walang sayang sa bawat proyekto, bawat assessment na ginagawa nyo. Walang sayang sa bawat gawain na ipapagawa ninyo sa mga estudyante. Dahil they all add value towards your main goal, and that is the end result. That's why begin with the end in mind. So how do we achieve this end result? That is why it is scaffolded, right? I mentioned scaffolding, scaffolded presentation. All right, so it's intentional. Hindi lang, wala ko mahimo ron, wala akong magagawa ngayon. Sige nga, okay, get 1/4 sheet of paper. That was an old time. It reflects my age, right? This was a long time ago. When teacher wants to scare us, they would really force us to get a piece of paper for a surprise quiz. But again, if it's a PBL, everything is or must be intentional. So there's a power in collaboration. We can support one another. It could be among grade 5, if you're all grade 5 there, grade 4, grade 1, maybe all teachers, you have 3 sections, work it out. And remember, when students design and they're involved and they know other students, other teachers, or even parents, or even the administrators, supervisors, principals, the division superintendent, regional director, who will have access, possible access on their work. Can you imagine how will they work on their project when it is published? So they will be more accountable. They would take it more seriously as well. And they would see, yes, I'm glad some people are giving value to my work, right? So that is also a great one, a great opportunity to showcase your own professional portfolio too as a teacher. And right now, at this moment, there are many divisions who have their own websites. Go ahead, publish their work. You have your evidence. This is how much we are learning, and this is how much we wanted to learn more. So that's the advantage. Understanding what is technology enriched learning environment is very important in getting empowered through digital collaboration. Now the finale. How do we partake into these like-minded teachers in the community? So for those in the WhatsApp group, that's the first step. Well done. Welcome to that organization. Not really an organization, just a group, okay? It's a support group for all of us. I would like to invite you on behalf of ProScola and the JC International, together with the support team, the ProScola teachers on the field right now. So future ready educators, we keep on saying future ready students, right? So I'm going to talk to you right now, okay? Future ready educators, are you willing to join us? So we have a project that we're going to launch, Learning Beyond Borders, meaning we don't want them to limit their skills, the experiences only within the four corners of the classroom. So K to 12 cultural e-portfolio, this is what we're aiming for. So our purpose, just like the webinar for today and tomorrow, it's simply because we wanted to equip you who are digitally inclined already, especially based on your answers on survey questions a while ago, into a smart learning environment. Okay, so when we work together, then we can truly create a genuine impact, okay, on our present and upcoming generations. It's a very simple goal that is possible only when we work together. So there are simple steps. After this session, I'm going to show you the QR code you could scan, or you can email me. We are connected already. Step by step, sign up. Let's virtually meet. Let us prepare ourselves and our students. Let's stay engaged. Let's actively participate to complete the project, and let's publish together. So those are simple steps that I'm asking you if you want to join. So begin with the end in mind. This project has 5 outputs, 1 introduction video of your students, and just a tip, when you do your video recording, please do the, what do you call this, horizontal, right? In a horizontal, so that when you play their video, it's the full screen. Never ever take a video like this, the vertical one. So do the horizontal view for the introduction video. Then, of course, the main output, the e-portfolio, the cultural e-portfolio. There will be feedback by students. We're going to pair you. One group of students will be paired with another group of students. Feedback by email. So email, there are a lot of skills that you could connect there. Email correspondence and so on. Presentation and publishing. Those are the main outputs. And then for this theme, we have divided them into 3. You just have to choose lifestyle, cultural heritage, arts, and music. Okay, so we're going to discuss that further. I have the project brief. Once you signed up, I'm going to give you the full version of the project brief for you to think about it, and at the same time plan ahead. Okay, so when you decide to join, think how many skills, how will you align the learning competencies with the design that you will be receiving the project brief based on your grade level, based on your specializations, and of course, based on the actual needs and goals intended for your students. How many subjects can you work with? And do you need to work alone, or you can invite maybe some of your colleagues? They may not be necessarily here in this webinar right now, but you might be thinking, oh, I have a partner teacher or teachers that we can work it out together. Please invite them into this project, okay? So just very simple steps, but it will take time for sure. and etc. So these are examples. These are the screenshots from the project brief, which I'm going to share with you once you sign up. Now, call for collaboration, I put it week 0 because beginning next week, Feb 13, before Valentine's Day, you can start signing up. Send me a message and tell me, Miss Cecilia, I'm interested. May I know the details? Then I can forward this to you. So the call for collaboration to participate on this project, according to our focus team on the ground, Sir Brian and the team out there, is up to March 24. And hopefully week 1 begins on March 27. So there will be a scheduled meeting for all the participating schools and teachers. Expect that between March 27 to 31. So this will be the setup for this project. Okay, so week 0, we invite you all. So Sir Jason and Sir Didi, feel free to invite teachers from South Africa and also Switzerland to participate and collaborate with our Filipino children and teachers. The call for collaboration, we have enough weeks probably to say that. It's about a month, right? Feb 13 to March 24. I hope the time will be enough, right? And then we can have our final meeting. I'll be the one who will facilitate this, so don't worry about it. All you need to do is tell me, are you joining? And then if you don't intend to join, it's okay. Maybe your intention is to design your own. And if you need some consultation, I can also be connected with you. Just reach out. All you need to do is ask. It's very simple, okay? And maybe you have already experienced that. For those who sent me an email, I respond as quick as possible, okay? Except if I could not really respond because of my other duties here. So these are the screenshots. Our final goal is, of course, to create our e-portfolio magazine that we can hopefully publish online. So it's a collaborative collection. And just like an example I had this morning with a team of teachers from the Dinagat Island and Butuan City, it's an idea of capturing, for example, maybe there's a cultural aspect that you wish to document, right? But it's forgotten. And one example, the hilot, manghihilot, that's very familiar to us, right? Manghihilot. But I don't know how many of you still avail of this traditional way of healing, getting medical help, hilot. But from my experience, all the healers, not really healers, they're not healers, healot, but they're literally healers, right? They're not licensed doctors, but these are like a passed on skill from the old generation, but I don't know up to what generation now. But it's slowly disappearing. Manghihilot. I forgot what's the English word for manghihilot. Anyone? Manghihilot. I have that on my report. I forgot what is the exact translation for manghihilot. Just post it in the chat box for Jason and Didi. This is like a disappearing skill because when the lola or the grandma or the grandpa who used to do it passed away, no more. It stops there. So I mean, you could document that. That's again maybe lifestyle, under lifestyle. How do we treat ourselves when we are sick? To whom we go to? What do people usually do? So again, those are just examples. And in Butuan City, for example, I have visited a relic there. There's one site, I would call it, is that a cultural heritage that we could consider? It's an old church ruin. It's really tiny and it's next to the river. But I love anything ancient. I love them. So I want to know more. What's the story behind this? And I bet not many of your students or even some of us here know what is the value of this building that stood there over time. So maybe you could document that as part of the cultural heritage. So many things that you could work on. Okay. So you can scan right now if you want. I can also scan it, show it back to you later. But just to let you know, there is a WhatsApp cultural e-portfolio group that is already opened for you to scan if you want to participate. So this is a summary in designing your PBL. Let's create, transform your ideas and dreams into reality through digital collaborative project-based learning. Creative process, those are the steps. You can take a screenshot of this if you want. And let's all be a happy fish out of water together with our students. And the reality, these are must-haves. The learning skills, literacy skills. No, when you say literacy, it does not stop only from reading, decoding what is in the school. It's actually your ability to get access, understand the available resources, information out there, even the use of media and technology. Life skills, this is very important for our students to survive and for them to give us better retirement when they started becoming the future leaders. We grow old, we cannot stop our aging, but we can pass on our legacy, right? Of our work. Many people will not remember us, but what is important is we have prepared this generation to take the step and become our country leaders, education leaders, and wherever the Lord wants them to live. So our goals for today, I hope we have achieved them. Understand what is technology enriched learning environment. So just some summary notes that I'd like to share with you. Our Gen Tech learners, our generation technology learners, are already immersed in this environment, or if not all, there are already learners who are already immersed in it, but even in the remote places, they're familiar with the use of smartphones. So they're ready in it. And us teachers, we cannot be left behind. Get empowered through digital collaboration. Empowerment happens with a culture of sharing, caring, and cooperation through digital collaboration. We empower each other. And the last one, grow when we learn from our differences, but we become even better when we work together. So there is a